Hi, everyone. You're welcome to today's session of the weekly leadership series by the David Douglas Leadership Forum. We are glad you are joining us again on this platform. And thank you all for joining us. Please, let's do well to share with our friends and family so they can also benefit from this learning opportunity. We're also live on Facebook and YouTube. You can connect with us there too. Now it's my honor to introduce our distinguished speaker for today, Christopher Charles Hampton. Christopher is one of the most empowering, entertaining, and enthusiastic voices in motivational speaking today. He inspires audiences worldwide with his transformational principles for embracing greatness and achieving success. We are thrilled to have him here with us, and I know you all are as eager as I am to hear his insights and wisdom. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Christopher Hampton. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just lost my camera. 1 second. All right, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that great introduction. Again, my name is Chris Hampton, and it's always an honor to be on the stage and share on like this. Thank you, David Douglas, for the invitation. And I just want to get right into it and just share with you a little bit about what it means to be a healthy leader. Okay, a healthy leader. When we think about leadership is about influencing people. So whether we realize it or not, we are all influencing someone. It can be, we have, was it 10 degrees of separation? Well, we have, just think about 5 people that are in your life right now. And whether you realize it or not, in that circle of 5 people that you have around you, you are influencing someone. So leadership is about influencing. And if we are influencing someone, and we understand that we're not living in a bubble by ourselves, right? So if we are not in an island by ourselves, the very first person you have to learn how to lead is yourself. But then when you learn how to lead yourself, you have to be put in the position that you have to learn how to lead others. And then we want to say, when we're leading others, how are we impacting others? Because a lot of times when we focus on leadership, we focus on, but we never look at the health of the leader. And what I found out about when we focus on the health of a leader, what happens is that it's more than just a job. If the leader is not healthy and whole, and when I talk about healthy and whole, I'm talking about specific areas, and we're going to share what those areas are in a second. But when you find out that you're not healthy and whole, it impacts the people that who are following you. And here, if you look at this statement, healthy, hurt people will hurt people, but healed people will heal people. If you are a damaged leader and you're not taking the time to take care of yourself, it leads into a toxic nature. Okay, a toxic nature. When I want you to become aware of, we talk about toxic leadership. We said if there's a healthy leadership, there's something called a toxic leader. And really what a toxic leader is someone who at the root has not been able to deal with the issues of them mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So I'm going to give you some categories. I love acronyms because acronyms keep me on track and keep me on task. So I have an acronym for you. So if you can write this acronym down, I want you to write the word SPACE. S-P-A-C-E, SPACE. And then I want you to write another word down, and this another acronym is HEAL, H-E-A-L. And what I need you to understand is that it's so important for leaders that you need to create the space to heal. A lot of times we feel, again, connected to a project that we will go on and sacrifice all for the project, and you don't think about the impact of when you show up, how you show up, that even when you are hurting and you're distressed and you're under all that pressure and you're not dealing with it, the people around you are affected. So what are those areas that we want to work on when it comes to space to heal? I want the first letter was S, which is spirit, spiritual care and maintenance. I'll say it again. S is spiritual care and maintenance. Now, when I talk about spiritual, we may automatically think about religion, and I come from a Christian background, so a source of my spiritual care comes from me going to church, comes to my prayer time. But again, when I'm talking about here, I'm talking about spiritual on the broad side. I'm talking about taking care of your inner self and managing your inner self. Your spiritual vessel may be the church or your meditation time, and that's your preference. We can talk about philosophy and religion on another scale, but we all agree that we have that inner part of us that has that when we don't take care of that and we don't manage that, what happens is it has that ripple in the pond effect, right? So there is a need for us to acknowledge that we have inner work that we must deal with. And that takes time. When we say meditation and prayer, we say prayer is when you're dealing with your creator and you're making your request known to the creator. But when we talk about meditation, meditation is a principle that hits many religions across the world, many thoughts across the world, and it has the same principle. Meditation is about sitting in a place of contemplation and rehearsing. When I'm meditating on things, I'm allowing my imagination to dream again. When I'm in my meditation, I'm dreaming and thinking about what the life can be. I'm also trying to reset and calm myself down again from the inside out. Now, we acknowledge when we work on the outside temple, like through exercise, we feel that side. But there's a lot of people that are physically strong and inwardly weak. And if you don't take the time to make those connections, to take those times to work on yourself spiritually, you can find yourself that your inner battery has a short time. So take care of your inner self. When do you create a space of peace that you can allow a time of peace where you can meditate on what life can be, where you can recharge again? Again, prayer is another important piece for me because I have that aspect where I also can go back and I can meditate and I can think on the books of wisdom that guides me through my life. So I love Proverbs. So there are many books of wisdom. What are some of the things that you are allowing to reset your life where you can use those principles to reset and re-guide yourself, your spiritual maintenance, your inner man, your time of peace? Do you have set aside time for just peace? Or are you going into one project after the other? You can be so task related. Again, when I say task related, you come off your job, that's one task. You come home to your family and there's a bunch of tasks. And then you find out that after you take care of your kids, after you've taken care of your spouse, and after you're taking care of everything else, then you go to sleep and you never really take the time to make time for yourself. And I've seen leaders that are going and they say they call it, they'll put it in terms of, I have a work-life balance issue. And really, are they taking time to recharge inwardly? We have an inward battery that we need to take care of. So that first step is the spiritual care and maintenance. The second is P, your personal balance, boundaries, and care. Your personal balance, boundaries, and care. That work-life balance issue that we're talking about, where you are so involved in the task of being a leader that you fail to have a personal life. Right? Well, you say, what's the responsibility of leadership? No. Because after the leadership role is done, who are you? After the job is over and you spent 50 years on 30 years or whatever your tenure is, and all they gave you was a watch. They don't even give watches away when you leave your job now. They just give you a goodbye. And you leave that job that you were a leader on. What happens? You spent a life now living for other people, and yet you as a person has not had the balance to take care of yourself. Balance. Balance is important. I heard people say that there's no such thing as balance. Yes, balance is important. Balance becomes a place where if you don't have balance, you have weak boundaries. How, if you have no boundaries, then you allow people to dictate to what you're doing and how you are to respond. How are you taking care of yourself personally? What is your personal boundary? And the boundaries is, do you bring your work home with you? Right? How would your spouse, if we were in a room talking and you were in the room, how would your spouse think about you? Do you have that time where, how would your children talk about you? I know people say, well, dad and mom, they're all about, dad, I can't bother dad because dad's working. You're home. You haven't created that boundary. And what happens is, again, when any of these things start to get off kilter, it affects how we lead. It affects our health. I have a time when I shut off work. I have a time when I shut off work so I can focus on purpose. Because my purpose is the bigger picture. There are things that I'm doing that I'm working my day job, but I'm doing things that have to do with my purpose. But then there's a certain time that I also have to focus on my family. Do you have those boundaries? And are those boundaries being weakened because you have not been paying attention to what those boundaries are? Is your family suffering? Because again, you are a leader not only in your workplace, you are a leader in your family. And again, if you're hurt and you're unbalanced, you end up hurting those that you are in the position of influencing around. Your family, you influence your family. And when you're unbalanced spiritually and you're unbalanced in your personal boundaries and you have no balance and you're not caring for yourself, and when I say caring, you're being a watchman over the important areas of your life. And when those boundaries are weak, the people that you lead are affected by them. So we said spiritual care and maintenance. P is your personal balance, your boundaries and care. A is the affirmation. And affirmations are what you say about you. Why is that important? Why is affirmation important? Affirmations is a popular thing now. Affirmations are, today's going to be a good day, right? Because what you say about yourself frames what you're going to do and how you're going to follow up. Today is going to be the worst day of my life. I hate getting up and going to this job. It's going to be a miserable day. And what happens? It becomes a miserable day. When we talk about our affirmations about what we believe ourselves, it's talking about what we believe is going to be in our life. Our words, what we say about ourselves, has to be important to you. Do you watch your mouth? There's a point in time when I just stopped talking when it came to myself because I had such a negative verbal view of what I saw myself. I had to stop talking about myself until I could redirect the conversation to a positive light. Now, when I didn't have the self-esteem, I was talking about all the things I could not do. And that brought a level of anxiety and doubt in my life. My self-esteem as a man my self-esteem and how I interacted with the world was dictated about what I believed in myself, and what I believed was what I was saying about myself. So I said, I'm no good. I'm not a handsome man. I'm not the one that people look for, right? And now I look at it. It took me 48 years to find out that I'm fine, because I'm fine with me, right? It took me 48 years to sit there and say I'm good looking, because what I say about myself, it fuels me and it puts my energy, it kind of focuses my direction, right? So my question is how healthy is your conversation about you, right? I said your spiritual is important. I said your personal is important, but I'm also saying what you say about yourself is important. Do you have an affirmation? I think everybody should have an I am affirmation. The name of my business is called CHAMP.I.AM. I didn't misspell champion, right? I realized that I am a champ because for so long, I doubted my victory. That was all. I was designed for victory. I didn't realize that. I was designed to overcome. I was divine. Here's another way of looking at overcoming. So I take it out of spiritual terminology. I'm designed to evolve to the situation, right? I didn't see that in myself. And when I started the Champ I Am business, the very first person, the very first affirmation, the very first person I had to speak power to was myself. So I live, my business is a living affirmation. Do you have an affirmation of what you say to yourself? I am more than enough. I am evolving. I am success. Every day I am walking in success. When you say those things to yourself, do you realize how your atmosphere around you changes? Nobody in the room is listening to your affirmation, but right now, while you're looking at me, if you're paying attention to me, just say one affirmation about yourself, and say it with full confidence. Say it right now, right there. And then do me a favor, if you have the ability to put it in the chat, put your I am. Say, I am blank. Put it in the chat. Did you realize the difference when you said, I am successful, how the energy around you changed? If you say, I am a failure, the energy around you changed, right? So I want you to think about that. Every day, wake up with an affirmation of what you are going to be, what you are able to do, what you are going to do. Affirmations have no limits. Affirmations are full of possibilities. Affirmations are talking about some of the things that you believe that are happening that have not even happened yet. It is a statement of what could be. But I live my life with a life where the balance is that as a leader, I am developing positive affirmations about myself over the negative affirmations. So we said spiritual care. I see it, Kennedy. He says, I am a multi-millionaire business. I love it. And it doesn't matter because and here's the thing about it doesn't matter what other people see. It doesn't matter what other people see, right? Because right now you could be living in a small, your whole house you could fit in one room. But if you don't put it on your mouth that I am the multi-billionaire business, what happens is you won't go after what you won't believe. I'd rather say I want to be a multi-billionaire business than I am broke. What I'm talking about, right? So what are you saying to yourself? So we said spiritual care. We said your personal balance, boundaries, and care. A was your affirmations. C is your confirmation, right? Your confession, right? So what I say like this, your confession. C is your confession. So the affirmation is what you are saying about what you believe can happen. But what happens is when you do your affirmation about yourself, it actually turns into a confession. And a confession is a profession, a verbal declaration of what you know to be true. It's a different swagger than the affirmation. And again, I have to ask yourself is, do you have a healthy confession about yourself? Because so many times we can focus on the negative things that are about us, and the negative things are there. But the negative things do not have to affect you in the way that they do. All right, I failed. You can look at I failed in a couple ways. I failed is a problem in the process. But when you make I am a failure, you turned your affirmation into a confession, and now you look at yourself and you've made failure your identity. Instead of a problem in the process, you've taken on and made failure a whole identity because you have made an affirmation your declaration, and you now believe it's true, and you walk under that umbrella of failure because you've attached it to you like this shirt is on my body. How is your confession as a leader? Because when you're aware of these things, you also be aware of how you treat other people and how you confess and affirm other people as well. And if you have an unhealthy affirmation and an unhealthy confession of yourself, most likely you have an unhealthy affirmation around other people, how you affirm other people. And you're very negative on how you probably deal with other people too. Because how you deal with people is a reflection of how you deal with yourself. So we said spiritual care. We said personal balance, boundaries, and care. We said your affirmations are what you believe to be true, what you're saying about yourself that you want to come, and then your confession is what you believe it is, right? And then now we talk about an important letter E, is your emotional care. I saw that. I saw the I am confession. Yes. Who you belong to matters. Thank you, Anna. I am a child of God. I am wealthy and I am successful. Yes, I love that, because who you belong to, you know who opens your door. So you know when you have that confession already says a lot, because it tells me that I'm not in this journey by myself. So even when I feel like I'm failing on myself, I'm not by myself because I'm a child of God. I'm part of the family. See, it affects your whole entire way of dealing with life differently. E is your emotional care and your attention, right? In a time where it feels like, especially around men, it's hard to talk about emotions, but I'm breaking that barrier because we need to be talking about our emotions, and we need to accept that we have emotions, right? And we need to be intentional when it comes to our emotional care. It's funny that I heard a psychologist, a therapist talking about one time, and they were talking about how when it comes to emotions, there are many kinds of emotion. There are so many kinds of emotion. One therapist said that there are over 37,000 emotions. 37,000 emotions, right? And I'm like, I can only name like 4 or 5. What? Happy, sad, mad, what? Depressed and worried, and maybe anxiety. Okay, I named 6, right? 6 emotional responses, right? But there are over 30,000 7 ways of dealing with that, right? So we need to make sure. I said that because I'm like, one, I would go, wow, there's a lot of ways to express our emotions. But 2, we need to make sure that our emotional care is a priority as well. When you are overwhelmed and you have an anxious spirit on you, we're dealing with worry, you're dealing with depression, and you as a leader do not acknowledge that you're dealing with these emotions, the effects here, these emotions, right? You're dealing with depression, you're dealing with anxiety, yet you want to be the soldier and you want to lead on through that. What happens is you get worn out and then you have a breakdown, and then what happens? The world will replace you with somebody else and you're on the sideline. If you don't take care of your emotional health, nobody else will. And as men, we need to be able to deal with our emotions as well. I heard something that I just thought it was weird. They said that like they try to make these little boundaries about men emotions. They said, well, women are emotional, but men are egotistical. And I said, that is so far from the truth, right? I said our ego is a trigger, but when we don't understand how to deal with our emotional, what happens? We get angry. I've seen a lot of people, I used to do prison ministry, and there are a lot of people that are in jail, a lot of men in jail, because they could not handle an emotional situation. So we need to make sure that we are dealing with our emotions and taking time to acknowledge our emotions so that we can confront our emotions. If you don't identify that there's a problem, you won't confront what you can't identify. And that means you have to have a level of accountability that you are sharing, that you can say, listen, I got somebody I can talk to. When the burden gets so hard and so heavy, and the cost of me bearing this burden by myself is feeling I can't talk to anybody. You need to make time to talk to somebody so they can walk you through. Sometimes you just need to be able to talk to the right person so that you can navigate your way out of it. But you're holding and you're under silent frustration because you won't acknowledge that you need your emotional care to be taken care of. You'll be breaking down. And again, what happens is when you are, again, a hurt leader, what are you going to do? I'm going to keep on saying it. Hurt people, healed people, heal people. I hope I'm helping you. I hope I'm challenging you in a different way today to look at yourself as a healthy leader. So let's deal with this, the next acronym, that HEAL acronym. Well, you say, Chris, I see that I'm off kilter and I don't have these areas where they should be. How do I get into that? That's that next acronym that we have, and that's the HEAL acronym. The first letter is H. You got to help yourself. You need to help yourself. If you are off kilter in any of the space, you are off kilter in any of those areas of space, you got to recognize that you need help. And it's okay that you need help. By saying I'm going to help myself by getting help and recognizing that I am getting help, right? I need to be able to say, all right, the first person I need to take care of is me. I need help. You are recognizing that you don't have all the answers. And again, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, right? I gotta change. So help yourself. You want to heal yourself? Acknowledge that I need help. You may need to see a psychologist. You may need to go and then just say, hey, I need time off. Hey, I really need to take my vacation time for vacation time, and I'm going to shut the laptop down, and I'm going to enjoy myself and my family. Help yourself. The second part of it is E, encourage yourself. Because you got to understand your healing is a journey. Your healing is not a race, it's a marathon. It's something that is going to take time. A lot of the things that we found out that we were areas that we might have been struggling in, it wasn't an overnight thing that got you there. So it's not going to be an overnight journey getting it done. So while you are in the midst of going through this, you're going to have to be able to encourage yourself, especially because people who might not have your insight that you are working on yourself to be better for yourself might not understand the process. So they may ridicule you while you're going to get the help. But because you know the end result is I'm going to be healed as a leader so I can be healthy enough to help other people and not infect the people, I'm going to encourage myself for the journey. So if nobody else can see the progression, I see the progression because I know I'm on the journey. So I have to encourage myself. A is you have to accept yourself. And I think the problem with accepting yourself is that we hold ourselves to an unrealistic mirror. of what success is, of what a successful leader looks like. When you look at a successful leader, you think of maybe perfection. You're like, wow, they're where they are. They look like they got everything going on, but really they don't got everything going on. What a good leader does is they accept themselves, flaws and all. Yeah, I'm very flawed. As an individual, I have flaws. You want to know my flaws? None of your business. Okay? No, I'm just saying that, again, we all have flaws, right? We have flaws. We all have areas where we look at it and we can see it as something that may hold us back, right? But you have to accept yourself and being able to say, okay, I identify my flaws. My flaws are not an excuse to be flawed and stay flawed, but I'm going to work on myself. And again, that's a part of that, and encouraging yourself during the journey is I accept myself. Sometimes I miss the mark, but I'm going to give myself grace, right? I'm not perfect, so I accept that, right? When you give yourself the acceptance and you accept yourself, you become, there's a level of confidence in the journey that comes upon you because your level of success is no longer dictated to what other people see about you. Your lens that you see yourself is different. It's not meant for other people. It's now you're looking through the ends of how you are looking. The only important person right now is how you see yourself in this process. So we said you have to help yourself. We have to encourage yourself. You have to accept yourself. And then lastly, and most importantly, as a leader, the L is you have to love yourself. Love you, flaws and all. Love who you are, the uniqueness in who you've been made to be. Love who you are, because no one can interact with the world and the people around you the way you are. You are unique all by yourself. And instead of looking at your uniqueness as a weakness, you have to look at your uniqueness as what sets you apart and makes you valuable. Remember, looking like everybody else makes you common. When you're unique, there's a rareness that comes to you as a leader. There's a quality about you that sets you apart from everyone else. When you're unique and you understand it and then you love it, nobody can direct you. Nobody can influence you out of your circle of who you are because you have a level of confidence that's going to direct you. And that's a part of your healing factor. Some of us are struggling with loving ourselves. And it shows in how we interact with the people and the people that are around us. So again, if you find yourself where we're consistently, right now, you feel that you're out of balance and you're constantly stuck in the same circle of hurt, I want you to make the space for you as the leader to heal. I want you to give yourself the permission to create a space, your own dimension where grace lives, that you have to heal. And in that place, you're going to take care of your spiritual care and maintenance. You're going to take care of your personal balance, your boundaries and care. You're going to speak better about yourself because your affirmations are going to be more positive than negative. They're going to turn into a confession, a proclamation, a declaration of what you believe to be true. And then you'll have a world where you embrace your emotions and you manage your emotions. And that you're on your journey of being whole and healed. Again, because I want you to be the leader that can heal and not hurt. My name is Chris Hampton. You can reach me on champiam.org. And I just thank you for the space that you've given me to share. Again, I think this is an important lesson because we need more healthy leaders who are aware of what it means to be a healthy leader. So if you have any questions, I'm going to throw it back to David Douglas, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing your wonderful insights with us on this topic, Space to Heal, the Healthy Leader. Okay, thank you very much for giving us this wonderful message. And at this point, I would like to open the platform for questions and answers. If you have any contributions to make, you can as well do that. Thank you very much.
I see Samson.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris, for your topic. I think you handle it quite well, and for the knowledge that you have shared for us or shared with us. I think is very important. My question is, there are a lot of leaders that sometimes they feel they are lonely. You get to a situation where a leader sometimes feels that there's nobody following him. Probably he's had challenges with probably sharing his vision, carrying people along with him. And along the line, you realize that you are alone. Along the line, you realize that people are not catching up with your vision or what you want, either for a church to become lonely. Now, my problem is that to what extent will you need, or to what extent will you say a counselor, a mentor should come in to be able to guide you, the leader, on the right path, so that you yourself probably will need healing. You will need to understand your own position, where you are, before you can understand how you are leading the people or what mistakes you are doing to be able to guide the people into the destination you want them to go. To what extent or at what point do you realize that, look, I need a mentor, I need somebody to guide me, I need somebody to help me? And what will you do when you get to that situation? Because the problem I see that sometimes leaders or some leaders get so self-engrossed that they get to a point they feel that the problem is not them, but the problem is the others or the followers. At what point do you get into this? Thank you very much.
Okay, so when it comes to a couple of things, it's usually if there's nobody following you. John Maxwell said, how do you know your leader? That people are following you. If there's nobody following you, you're just a person going for a long walk by themselves, right? Paraphrasing it. So again, if people are not following you, the problem is that they don't understand. They may not be able to see your vision, right? So the problem could be is that, one, you're not communicating vision clearly, okay? Which means that you should, as a leader, you do need someone to be training you, and that you need a mentor. Every leader should have someone who is pouring into them directly. I am wary of leaders that do not have a leader above them that's pouring. I am wary of leaders that have no mentors, because again, they don't, that you're not always going to be in a position where you're right. And even leaders need to be able to have a time where you can stop and reflect on the journey and see that, hey, I'm at a point where I'm not growing. And when you're at that point where you're not growing, is because John Maxwell talks about there's a principle called the law of the lid, and that a leader cannot grow, the people will not grow beyond what the leader is. Or that old kung fu thing that, you're never greater than the master. The master is always learning. That's why the master is the master, because even though the master is at the top, that master is always growing and developing. Otherwise, the people that he's leading is going to be come to a point where they're stunted. They're stunted. So there's two things. Number one is every leader should have a mentor. Every leader should have a community of mentors. And it doesn't have to be one mentor for everything. I have different mentors for different areas of my life that I'm developing from. And then also understand that there's certain types of mentors that you can have. You can have a mentor from afar. So now you have mentors that you may never be in. We have YouTube University now. You have people that are now making the information available to you. So you have mentors from afar, okay? But I also think you should also have mentors that you have relationship with, so that when you're jacked up, they can tell you you're jacked up, because you give them permission to speak freely in your life, right? And to speak freely into your life and to check you to say, yo, the way you spoke to such and such, or the way that you handled that situation was wrong, right? It allows you to be able to hear another viewpoint another way. So mentorship is important. And then again, how you communicate vision is important. If you are you should communicate the vision in such a way that people see themselves in your vision and they want to be a part of it. If nobody wants to be a part of your vision, I'm going to question, how are you presenting your vision? And that's a whole another class, but that's the answer that I would give for that question. Hopefully that was helpful. Someone said in the chat, also, communities like this, I agree, is a great place for mentorship, because you're in a spot where you're hearing from other people that are where you want to be, right? So you might not have personal access to them, but you have personal access to the community, and that makes a difference as well. But great question, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris. So we have a few comments in the comment section. We have this coming from Kennedy Labi. I'm a multi-billionaire business magnate. Okay, he's making an affirmation. And this coming from Anna. God's name is I am. We are created as an image of God. So whatever you add to I am, you become. I am healed. I'm a child of God. I am worthy. Okay. I am a
yeah, that was our affirmation section.
Yes, yes. And this from Francis. I'm happily smiling at my bank account balance of 16 million euros. That's of my daily affirmations. Okay. And from Anna again, first is a thought, then comes emotion. I think that when we learn to control our thoughts, we can control our reactions or pre-acting to our emotions. Okay. Okay, another one from Anna. Own our mistakes and change our behavior. That's hard sometimes, but truly worth of doing. Only God is perfect. Thank you so much. Great. Okay. Thank you all for your comments. All right, so we have a hand from Mr. David.
Thank you.
Kindly go ahead.
Thank you very much, Comfort. And thank you so much, Chris, for such a wonderful delivery, thought-provoking and educative. I want to ask this question because when it comes to leadership, it's a different ball game altogether. And we have listened, read, and watch our uh, leaders or mentors, people that we try to mimic from or to learn from in the past, and it is now our turn, and we are also trying to do our bit or to add value in our time as to what we can also do to change the narrative. Ambassador Odugu, I pray you can mute yourself. So sorry about that. Thank you very much. Now, in this leadership space where we call ourselves leaders, is I just to quote in quote, is cumbersome somehow, and when trying to transform people's life, when trying to change people's life, and positioning yourself for people to see as a pillar, and positioning yourself for people to see as a cardinal point of change, to follow you. Very, very difficult. My question to you is this: how will you, as a leader, deal with a disgruntled followers? This has been a question I've been asking for some time, but I believe you can add some value to that. Thank you very much.
number one, going back to the health, how it's almost like when you say disgruntled, it puts them in a separate category. I would say, how would you deal with a person that has questions? Because when you look at a disgruntled person, you automatically position them in a place of opposition. They're disgruntled. They're not acting right. They're not following up. They're not lining up. And that disgruntled person is really just someone who has questions, who may not see the vision clearly. And what happens is when we look at how we respond to that person, it goes to the point of saying, okay, when you get to that person and you come to them and they're disgruntled, you as a leader, you already got your guard up to defend yourself. You got your guard up to be able to say, oh my God, this person's, what's wrong with me now that they can't see my vision and they can't see what's going on? Automatically, it puts them in a position of you versus them. But when you look at them and as a person that's a part of your team, number one, they're still following you. They're still a part of your organization. So you're saying, I got somebody who's a part of my organization that has questions, and maybe something I'm not doing is being translated clearly. Or they might not like what you're doing because they don't understand why you're doing it. But when you're coming in, I would create a space for them to be able to share and to be able to say, what is it that you're seeing? Can I hear what you are saying? And I'm hearing you and I'm hearing it. Let them know that they have been heard. Now, it's not going to change. It might not change the direction because you as the leader, sometimes you have to lead in areas where they don't understand and you have to navigate. And there's more than just that department. But what you can do is, again, explain why this decision was made and why it ties to the vision of where we're going to. And it might be uncomfortable because it's change. And we have to be able to make sure that we are training our organizations to be able to handle change. Because a lot of times you're shifting people and you're shifting them into areas that they're not aware of, and you're not equipping them on how to deal with the area in the way they need to be changing. So that your company is evolving, the vision is evolving, and the people are used to it being in a certain way, and we're evolving, but you never made time to equip them for change. Right? So this is I hope it's answering the question, but it's two things. It's how we look at the person and just how you phrased it, David. I would just phrase it differently for people that who don't see eye to eye. They got questions. I'm in sales, so there, we call that objections, and we have sales trainings where we talk about you got to handle objections. But objections again are just another way of saying that the client has questions that we might not have been able to express it clearly. So finding out what is the disgruntled is, and then finding out is where they are with the vision, and understanding that there are some people that are not going to go with you into the next level. There are going to be some people that are not going to go to that next level with you, and that's fine too. And you as a leader, as a healthy leader, have to be secure in your leadership that if people leave your organization, you're okay because it's not a reflection, because you don't own the people. The people are with you for a season. So when someone who can go to a point with you and they don't see themselves in the vision anymore, and they say, you know what, it's time for me to leave because, I no longer see myself in this place, in this direction anymore, it's okay. You say, you know what, I thank you for the time that you're here because we learned from each other during your time here. We've grown together. And now you're at a place where you're grown to a point where you don't need us anymore. That's great. Not, oh my God, they're leaving me. The people don't belong to you. They're given to you for a season. So when you understand that, when people leave you because they no longer see themselves in the vision, you're not offended as a leader. You're not hurt as a leader. You understand that we were here for a time and we grew each other because we had a symbiotic relationship, not a parasitic relationship. And now it's your time to go. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate your answers. And yeah, so you did mention or talk about people coming in and people going out, and for you to understand not everybody that joins your leadership team uh, are ordained or destined to be with you throughout the journey. So therefore, people come in and people go out. Now, as a leader who is building, uh, let's say, followership, which is a platform, at what point will you realize or know or identify that these, because it is about people, and that also work with the church settings, because we win souls and we bring people to the kingdom of God, and that kingdom need to grow. So therefore, you working on people, you working with people, but either you like it or not, people come in, people go out. It's just like in Africa, we have a transport system, not in the world, the transport system, in the train system. People join at a point, people, get down at a point, and, so it happens like that. But at what time do you, as a leader, uh, can understand or to know that now your platform is getting grounding and is taking shape and is taking position, and for you to begin to know and to identify that you are planting seed and people are seeing that, connecting with it and following in that regard. I don't know if I put it well for you. It's a long one though.
All right, so what I'm hearing is, again, is that as a leader, our focus is on the vision and not necessarily the people. You got to be able to build the people so that they can see the vision. Okay, and the reason why people are following you is because people see themselves as a part of your vision. So the vision is not just for you. The vision is so big, is bigger than you. And it's going to need people to come and be a part of what you are building. But the reason why people will follow you to the next level is not just because, ooh, um, you're doing a great thing. It's because they also see a part of themselves in it as well. And my question sometimes is if it's surrounded by you and all you see is you, do you give room for the people to put their imprint on the vision? Because the whole reason motivation is a selfish reason is because they're benefiting from the vision because they see a part of themselves in it. Now, I'm not focused on how people are feeling and doing, and I'm not trying to do a customer service survey about how people how satisfied. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about how we are serving the people in reference to the vision. And that's the important part, is that you are expressing that vision to a point that people want to be a part of it. And what people want to be a part of, they'll make the time to be a part of it. Now, if you see a mass exodus of people leaving your vision, I'm going to start looking at your a couple things. What is your quality of how, what is your system like? How are your leaders? The leaders that you are leading to manage the people, do they reflect you and do they reflect the vision, or do they reflect themselves and the position? Because somewhere there's a gap. There's a gap. When people start to leave you, right? They're going to leave either because it's their time or because the train is broke. And you as the leader has to be able to understand the difference between the two. Is my train broke or is it their time? And if it's broke, then you have to start identifying the leaders that are representing you. You have to check how you are coming across. Then I will have to look at the leading and looking at my vision and saying, is my vision being communicated in the style of the times? Is it relevant to the people that are around me now? How I communicate my vision is important too. So I hope that answered that question. But again, is that again, you're developing the key of any leader is you're building a vision, you're creating a vision that people can see that they want to follow, but the people have to see themselves in that vision that they want to continue to follow you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So before we move on, we still have a few messages in the chat. I'm going to read them out. This is from Francis. I'm so excited about the affirmations part. I came across this a few weeks ago and it's doing wonders for me. I feel so much at peace because I know all my affirmations will surely manifest in due time. Sure. And this also from Anna. Leaders create leaders. This community is a good mentor indeed. Create value to your peer group. All right. And this also, I think this is a question. This is a question from Sam. Why did you score yourself 3? What metrics did you use to evaluate your weakness and strength?
I don't know what I was talking about for that one. Did I I was saying from maybe a scale of 1 to 10, how self-esteem, when I was looking at myself as a leader, as a person, sometimes I would be very hard on myself. So I would call, instead of being a 10, I would look at myself as a 3, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the low, 10 being the highest. And it wasn't until I got an understanding of who I was, and who I was created to be, and that I became comfortable in my own skin and my own uniqueness, that I understood that I was really beyond a 10, right? In my eyes. And that's the confidence that had to be developed in me. But I had to get an understanding as me, because my insecurity would drip out in my leadership style, right? So until I had to deal with that insecurity and be able to understand who I was and how valuable I was leading at a lower level. Hope that answered.
Sam, I hope this answers your question. All right. Okay, so we have this is an affirmation coming from James. I'm a multi-millionaire in all major currencies. Okay. And from James again, does affirmation really work for the church folks? The leaders always ask them to millionaire and I'm a millionaire, and yet over years these affirmations are not manifesting physically. Is there any advice for the church folks to manifest?
Yeah, because manifestation is a required access of faith. Okay, you could say that I'm an affirmation, and Marcia went. I wanted to deal with her statement that she made coming down, but affirmations by themselves, affirmation is just the beginning step. Affirmations are what you believe that can be, right? But the declaration of the manifestation of your belief is faith. And faith is defined as your corresponding suitable and appropriate action to what you are believing for, based off of the word of God. I do with my Christian faith, but let's take the principle of faith. It's your corresponding suitable and appropriate action to what you believe for. You can say, I'm a millionaire all day long, and if you are not walking out the step to be a millionaire, you're just saying it's a millionaire. What your affirmation is giving you a belief that which you can be, but it has to get down in you to what you believe it can be by your faith. And your faith steps are, okay, I'm starting my business. Okay, in my business, I'm getting plans, I'm getting things set up that I can become a multi-millionaire. Manifestation is not magic. Manifestation is a representation of the work that you have been doing behind the scenes. I can say I'm going to be an international global impact on the world today, but when I said it 7 years ago, I just had a podcast. But now I have global influence. I'm speaking to people all over the world right now in this one spot. But 7 years ago, I didn't see that. My affirmation to myself was, I believe that I'm here to impact the world. But my faith, My corresponding suitable appropriate action to what I was believing for was I had to start my video podcast. I had to start speaking on platforms. I had to pay to get on some platforms. I had to get exposure. And then I'm now on the David Douglas platform speaking to people from all over the world 7 years later. That's how manifestation happens. It's not magic, but it was intentional. I hope that helped.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chris. I think our MC has left us, but if you are still here, Comfort, I realize you left. It could be a tech challenge, and so we don't have Comfort here with us. But well, there are a few messages still in the chat box coming from Dr. Marcia. I'm going to read those messages, but then you did mention of something which is critical when it comes to leadership, and I think that has been a battle for most leaders. How will you deal with insecurity as a leader?
That goes back to the H.E.A.L. Help yourself, encourage yourself, accept yourself, and love yourself. The insecurity as a leader, it affects your leadership style because then you become people-led rather than leading the people. So again, you have to be able to accept that you are more than enough. If you're in that situation and you're in a leadership position and you feel like you're inequipped, the fact that you are there in the position, you're qualified, right? So the key is that you have to understand and accepting yourself, you're not going to make the right decision every time. That's why they say in the multitude of counselors, there's wisdom, right? So it's who you're surrounding yourself with. But you have to remember, again, that you have been created to be uniquely driven. I'm not sure if this is just a straight Christian platform, because if so, I would give some more word to what I'm sharing with. But again, you've been fearfully and wonderfully made. You are unique. I think it's a proverb that says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. There's no one like you. So as a leader, you have to accept that you are who you are. If you go throughout the Bible, most of the leaders that were in the Bible had flaws and they had insecurities. But in the overarching thing was, again, I am that I am. God created you to be who you are, and if he created you, he sent you, he says you're more than enough. So when you understand who you are, and it takes a journey of being creating that space where you can be real with yourself and stop comparing yourselves to other people. You are you. You're not going to run your business the way other people ran your business. You are you, and you got to be able to give yourself the liberty to fail, the liberty to mess up, the liberty to say, hey, I'm going to make it, and sometimes I'm going to mess up just as much as I make it. Give yourself that liberty. I am now saying that I have a different swagger and a different level of confidence that I have in myself. But when I realized that, again, I am uniquely made, there's nobody that's going to touch the project the way that I am. So it starts there. It really does start there. But you got to be able to accept yourself. And when you accept yourself, you're accepting yourself under the measurement of how God sees you rather than what everybody else accepts. You got to accept yourself. You got to look at yourself through a higher lens. And that higher lens is not through the faulty lenses of what other people sees. You got to get a really good picture of who you are.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the
Thank
chat.
you very much.
I'm trying to look at the chat too.
Yes, I'm just getting in there to fetch the messages we have. Yeah, there's quite a number of messages there, but coming mostly from Dr. Marcia. So her first message is affirmation by themselves have no power. Affirmations need deed, belief, and consistent action to accomplish your goals according to God's plan for your life. So she continued to say, the Bible offers wisdom on this matter, emphasizing the importance of aligning our thoughts with God's truth, rather than relying solely on self-generated positivity. And then she concluded by saying, as Philippians 4:3, and I encourage all of us to read it irrespective of your belief. Let's just read it. Instruct finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So let's read it. It is here for us. Well, this is just an addition to what our brother Chris has shared with us. I don't know if he still has comment on that, but there are other.
That's one of my favorite scriptures. But again, like I said, it's a broader message. Like I said, is there's a lot of places where I get my principles.
Okay,
but
all
again,
right.
it's more principle.
Francis is saying,
yeah, it's the principle. But for the main office, the great thing about principles is they work for everybody, and they work for everybody. And that's one of my favorite scriptures because it talks about, again, creating that space where we're going back again, is that whenever we get into those situations that we can just start thinking about the self-doubt. Think about all the things when you start to go back to Brother David's question about leadership. When you start to doubt yourself, think about all the times that you did it right. Think about all the times that you did succeed rather than the few times that you failed, right? Again, it redirects your thoughts on where you need to go. So again, that's a principle that I live my life by. And again, a lot of these things that I gave are principled on scripture, but again, we're talking to a broader audience. I just want to make sure that you know whether you're in the faith or not. Hopefully, it will give you a better look at the faith, but it works for everybody.
thank you very much. I don't know if this question has been posed to you already, but then there is a question from Francis, and he's saying, yeah, I have equally experienced that many times, but the majority of people not experience same. Is there anything beyond affirmation that they are not doing right? That is a question to you, Mr. Chris.
Yes. You remember, these are spaces. So I don't know if you were there in the beginning, but we were talking about these are individual spaces, and you can't spend more time in one than the other, right? So the problem that I have with some people that are so spiritual that it's God, 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 and nothing but God. Now I'm a minister, right? I do ministry work, right? But my life is not me trying to walk on water, right? I can't be so spiritual that I'm no earthly good. I have to balance that, right? But at the same time, I can't be so much into building this body that I ignore my spiritual side. It's a balanced walk. And these are areas that we're looking in, that we're developing. And some of us can quote the Bible back and forth, but we fail in our personal lives, right? So it's because there's a balance. So you can't be in any one of these and live in there forever. You need to be making sure that you are taking care of your spiritual side. You are taking care of yourself personally. You're not living in an affirmational space and that's all you're doing is talking a good talk. Your affirmation has to lead into the faith development of you walking this thing out. So you think, you wish it, you dream it, and it becomes a vision. A dream is just a dream because it stays in the head. It becomes a vision when you start walking it out, right? So again, a lot of us are stuck in the affirmation on what we dream we can be and never take the steps to become the confession where we're declaring what is true because we're walking it out and it can be seen in our lives. Again, you can't be stuck in these circles and just be one circle. It's about having the balance between all of them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, you are connecting with us here on the David Douglas Leadership platform, and this is our weekly leadership series. This organization work in partnership with the John C. Maxwell Certified Team members, Arizona State University, Thunderbird School of Global Management, and other international organizations. And our simple aim is to find a way or methodology to adding value to leadership or bringing change to leadership. And believing in doing that, we decided to take it with the youth, because if we believe in tomorrow, then you have to believe in the youth, because they form a large capital base of our population. There is always a saying that tomorrow belongs to the youth. So yes, we have to ensure that if we want to see change in our leadership space, then we have to do this input or make this input by putting all the metrics together to ensure that we guide, direct, and empower our youth in a way that is ethical and that is adding value. And so this platform is open to everybody who has a topic on ethical leadership, personal development. We do bit of entrepreneurship, and it is part of what we do also as an organization. So if you are listening to us or you are watching us this evening and you have heart for the youth and you want to do something with the youth, I will encourage you. This is the right platform for you to partner with, and we are always open for partnership and for people who are ready and willing to add value to our youth. Finally, before we leave, because it is already time, we are, I think, 8 minutes behind our usual time. That is 12 minutes. But I want to give this opportunity to Mr. Alf from Germany to also add value to the topic tonight before we finally roll out. Thank you very much, Mr. Alf. Kindly unmute yourself and let us hear your thoughts on this topic. Thank you. Alf, I want to believe you are here with us. Well, so as I did mention, we are already behind time and we have to actually be closing now. But I want to take this few announcements before we leave the platform tonight. Next week, same time, it is 7 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST, 2 p.m. CST, 8 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. We're still adding the time zones. So perhaps you are here, but you haven't heard of your time zone. You can reach out to us. I'll be putting my WhatsApp line out there for you to do that. So next week, we will be here again. And the speaker for next week is Dr. Just a minute. Let me pick that. Our speaker for next week is Dr. Andrew Tongbe. Dr. Andrew Tongbe is a Nigerian, and he is the founder of Quick Business Results Expert and also a founder of End Poverty Foundation. His core purpose is to get individuals and institutions out of poverty by helping them maximize and monetize the resources they already have in hand and around them. So Dr. Tongbe will be speaking on the topic, transform your leadership. This is going to be another wonderful time, and we're inviting all of you, if you are here, this is your first time that you are joining this platform, I'm encouraging you, don't come next time alone. Invite your friend, connect with people. It's a learning time for us, and I believe that all of us has learned something tonight, and we are beginning the week with something. You know, tonight we talk about how you can heal as a leader from perhaps the injuries and things that you have been through, or maybe going through, how you can heal from that. And our speaker tonight is Mr. Chris Hampton, and he did deliver on that topic. Chris speak from the USA. Chris, which state are you in?
I'm in the state of Delaware.
So Chris spoke from the state of Delaware, from the USA tonight. And next week we are in Nigeria. And I think the following week we'll be in a different country. This is a global platform, and we engage speakers globally to speak on this platform. As an organization, our primary aim is how we can alleviate poverty. That was our flagship. That is what brought the vision together, because what actually put the components together for us to set up this platform is how we can do away with unemployment. And in doing that, we started with the youth at a point where we started with this leadership and realized that entrepreneurship is very much important. And so we incorporate that into our services and into our operations. And then we move from there into how we can direct investment into Africa. And in doing that, we had our first investment expo that was in 2023 in Las Vegas. And in 2024, we had another investment summit, which was called the Africa's Peace Investment and Tourism Summit in Ghana, Accra, which is West Africa. We had it here. It was a massive event, and we had people participating across countries. 2025, we are coming to New York, and we are still putting communities together, putting nations together, putting leaders together, business communities, and then the business leaders and government officials together to this event. You might be listening to me today. You have business, you have a dream to start business, and you are looking forward. We know the challenge all of us has, or all of us have, most of the times, is how we can get finance into our businesses. If that is your challenge, then this event is for you. We're inviting you to be part of this event because we're drawing in investors and we're drawing in individuals. We're drawing in mostly the African communities in diaspora who are willing and interested in doing business in Africa. But the truth and the fact is that they don't have trust in anybody that they can commit their funds to. So we're working with enterprise entities with trusted record that we bring in on board to engage with these individuals and to connect them back at home and to tell them what they can do when it comes to business, people they can trust, and all that. Government officials will be part of it because we're dealing also with government projects. So I'm announcing this to you who is listening to me this evening, that if you are interested for being part of this event, we are inviting you. You can reach out to us on +233. I'm giving out my number. If you are listening to me and you want to be part of this, kindly take pen and paper, write this number down, reach out to me after the event, and then let me know. +233 243 393121. Again, +233 243 393121. If you happen to be in and around airport or Ghana that you want to physically meet with us, our office is behind the Association International School, which is opposite the airport police station. You can equally come to our office and meet with us. We will sit with you, engage you, and to understand how you want to be part of it, of this, what your challenges are, and how we can help you. So we thank you so much once again for being part of this evening session. Also, we depend on your contribution. This is not church, and we are not taking offering from anybody, but this is a benevolent platform. This is a charity platform. We are non-profit, so we don't do any business to support this platform. So we depend on individual donations and individual contributions to be able to set up this platform and to run it successfully. If you have interest in supporting us Again, the numbers that I have given out, which is the +233 243 393121. You can take this number and then make your donation via our Momo number, or you can equally reach us on that number. We will be available to speak to you on how you want to be part of this organization and how you want to contribute to this organization. On this point, I will say thank you everybody for your time. We are grateful for you being here with us. We have people joining us. I can see Ambassador Odugu from Nigeria. Ambassador, thank you so much for being part. Ambassador Odugu work with the foreign direct investment in Nigeria, and they are one of the candidates that represent in the Africa's Peace Investment and Tourism Summit here in Ghana, and they are our official partner to the Africa's Peace in Africa's Global Investment Expo in New York. So we are grateful to have you here on board. We also have S.P.A.C.E here with us and with other people. Dr. Marcia was here with us from Jamaica, but now in New York. Yes, he has been here with us. Anna Jujuvi is here with us from Finland. And I can see other people. I can't mention all of us, but what I'm saying is we are grateful for having you to be part of tonight's session, and make time to join us next week, Sunday, same time. God bless you until we meet again. Shalom, peace to all. Thank you, Chris, and God bless everybody. Bye-bye, everyone.